And John, talk to us about what Seekout is first. Why don't you start there?
Yeah, Seekout's a tool for finding candidates for the top of funnel. We work for all kinds of roles, all kinds of industries, but we're especially strong with finding diverse candidates, especially underrepresented folks. Also, we're really good at tech and other kinds of kind of hidden talent, but those are kind of our sweet spots.
Okay. Any success stories you can share?
On the diversity front, it's been interesting. Obviously, with COVID, people trying to figure out how they're going to make meaningful action. So we've seen a lot of people moving kind of what they would be doing in events to outreach. That's, they'll target a diverse group and then do outreach that way. Then obviously there's just the core sourcing, people who are trying to do more than just say they're going to take action, say they're going to do something, but they really want to basically boost up the diversity of their slates. One example is Genentech, who's a customer of ours. They were trying to get better representation among their senior science roles, people like, director of ophthalmology, things like that. And just in the past 3 months, they've been using Seekout. One of those campaigns, they identified 300 candidates, engaged with 100 of them, ended up making 4 diverse hires just over the past 3 weeks or 3 months, which has been amazing.
That's awesome.
John, just quickly, before we get to the tool, just explain the different diversity features on the tool itself briefly. Yeah,
so Seekout's a general purpose sourcing tool, but we analyze every profile to figure out most likely diversity category for everyone. So we have filters for female, African American, Hispanic, Asian, and veteran candidates. And then we also have the ability to turn on a blind hiring mode, which will redact a lot of the information that would bring in unconscious bias.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's a very common feature, that redacted hiring mode that a lot of vendors share out there. All right, feel free to share your screen and let's see a quick demo of Seekout.
Yeah.
Great. Do you see my slide there?
Yep, we're all good.
Just a reminder to everyone, as you were saying, if you go to Seekout.io/expo, sign up for a demo, we'll give you a $20 gift card to give to the charity of your choice. We hope you'll take advantage of that. As I was getting ready what to talk about, I saw this news report yesterday, maybe some of you saw it, where the CEO of Wells Fargo, this audio came out where he said, it might sound like an excuse, and that's probably the first sign that you should stop saying what you're about to say. But he said, the unfortunate reality is there are a very limited pool of Black talent to recruit from. So, this caused really bad press for Wells Fargo. But I'd argue, what it really is, it's bad data. Like, he's just not looking at the right data, or his team isn't, and probably a bad strategy around what he's doing with diversity. So that I couldn't kind of ignore that when I saw that on Twitter last night. So I thought I'd include that here. But I'll kind of jump over to Seekout. This is the main Seekout interface, and I'll just kind of run through some pretty simple examples of the types of things we can do. Let's say we're trying to hire a SaaS salesperson. So we can just use one of our power filters, which is an easy way to build up kind of a complicated search. And I'll narrow that down. I'll say we're looking in Boston. So we're going to instantly get, what here's 15,000 candidates. The great thing about Seekout is you can always go into people insights instead of looking at individual people. You can say, is my search on the right track? And what is the makeup of this group of people? So not just, what are their titles, but what's the diversity of this population? And so you can see it's fairly underrepresented. If I click on here, I can see details about just the female candidates in this pool. And then I can always jump back and see the individuals. So these are the female candidates who are SaaS salespeople in the Boston area. We can do that with any of our diversity tags. So if I say, I'm not looking for female, but instead African-American candidates, we'll do the same thing. And this is all a machine learning algorithm. It's not perfect, but our goal is to bring back as many accurate profiles as we can in that group. And then once you find them, you can engage with them and do outreach and get them to interested in your roles. So that's one example. I'll show you just one quick other example. Like I said, we do a lot with tech. So if we say we wanted to hire an Android developer, so we'll find Android developers. A lot of people will say, oh, there's just, there's not enough diversity in that pool. And it's true, there's not as much, but it's sort of a cop-out to say you can't find candidates here. So let's look in Dallas. Again, we can use our diversity filters. We could say let's look for Hispanic candidates. Again, we've analyzed all these profiles. You may see some that we're not going to be perfect, but we're quite strong with the kind of candidates we can bring back. Similarly with African-American candidates in this pool. And when you're going through this, or if you're sharing with a hiring manager, you can turn on our blind hiring mode. It's not as rich as some of the tools you'll see, like maybe Tal Vista later, but it at least takes away the most obvious elements, replaces everybody with a cat, gets rid of names, so you can focus on skills instead of what you think an Android developer should look like. And then really quickly at the end, just because I couldn't let the Wells Fargo thing go, we can get insights about anything, right? So we can get insights about Wells Fargo, for instance. So if I say, tell me what we know about Wells Fargo. If I scroll down to diversity here, this is the aggregated information about Wells Fargo employees. You can see they've got about 5.5% of their employees are African-American. And if I instead say, I want to look at seniority or something, let's look at how many executives. So that ends up being, just 2.8%. And so you can say, yeah, the market's really tough, like their CEO did. But you could also look at, maybe one of their competitors. So let's look at JP Morgan Chase. And we'll look at their stats. So sorry for all the scrolling. So they have a higher percentage of African-American candidates. And if you look at, again, I apologize for the scroll, but if you look at just their executive candidates, they're at 3.7. So Wells Fargo's competitors are finding those people. So I'm not sure that their CEO should be saying they can't. So I'm sort of throwing Wells Fargo under the bus there. This is a hard problem. I actually think that they're doing some good things, but that one was not that great. And so a lot of people use Seekout. Basically, like I was saying, they use this for understanding representation at their company, in an industry, or in a talent pool. With that, they can get alignment with hiring managers, and then they can find the talent and reduce unconscious bias. So if you want to demo, please go to seekout.io/expo. We'd love to have a much deeper dive of Seekout with you.
You have a question here
from
Afaya. She wants to know how you're getting demographics for your candidates, specifically women and African Americans.
Yeah, great question. So we use machine learning algorithms to classify every profile. And that's the part I was saying, we're not perfect, but we look at a lot of different signals. So, for women, we do use names as a factor for women, but we use the top 1 million female names from the census, for instance. So it's a huge net that we cast. And then we'll look at schools, clubs, groups, sororities, all those kind of membership. And then we look at keywords on the profile to infer that too. And our goal is to bring back as many as we can, as accurately as we can.
Okay. Great question. Any other questions? If you can put them in the question section. Let's see anything.
John, can you talk a little bit about the contact info? Do you have contact info on these candidates as well?
Yeah, we do. So once you find the folks, then we bring back personal email and phone numbers. So you can do, and we also have automated outreach within the platform. So you can send multiple messages out that's personalized to their experience over time to increase your response rates. Because obviously finding candidates is one thing, but you got to get them to engage with you. So that's the other part. And then we'll integrate with whatever your ATS or HR systems are, so then you can get them into your funnel.
All right, another question. Does Seekout integrate with your applicant tracking system?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the part, we're at the top of the funnel. And then once you find people, you can push them into your ATS. We also do what we call ATS rediscovery, where we link more closely with your ATS. And you can search the people in your ATS based on things like diversity or what they're doing now versus what they were doing 2 years ago when they applied for a job.
Okay. Another question, what is your accuracy rate in categorizing diversity?
Yeah, that's a long conversation, but in search, there's basically two concepts. There's precision and there's recall. So precision means, hey, if we said this candidate is female, are they female? And recall is, if there were 100 Black candidates to find, how many did you bring back? Because obviously, if you bring back one candidate, you can be perfect on precision, but you're be really horrible on recall. So we try to balance those. We're around 90% on both of those numbers, but it is a very complicated mathematical answer, which I would love to get into with anybody who has questions. I'm John at seekout.io, by the way, but go to this seekout.io/expo, and you can also get connected.
So we have a few questions three people wanting to know about profiles and where folks are coming from. The first one is where are candidates coming from, and then the other follow-up to that is, are people creating their own profiles?
Yeah, we're a passive tool, so people are not creating their own profiles. We are pulling primarily from LinkedIn, open source contributions on GitHub and soon Stack Overflow, and then anyone who's done research or has a patent, is kind of a deep technical expert. And then we augment that with lots of other information from social networks, links to profiles, things like that.
Okay. Another question, how does Seekout fare versus other diversity search platforms?
I mean, the space is moving really fast, so we'd love for you to try it and compare, but we did a comparison in July against the two other leading diversity tools, and we had something like 3 times more African American candidates, 8 times more Hispanic candidates.
Wow.
Some of the other tools are quite strong with female, but we're across the board better than our competitors.
Okay, and then do we have time for one more question, Chris?
Sure, one more.
Okay, so how fresh are your profiles?
Yeah, with any of the aggregators like ours, that's like the number one engineering problem, right? Make sure that as changes happen, they get updated. We are generally updated within 6 weeks of any changes, but it's not like every profile. So, I'd be lying to say every profile we have has the most recent one, but we think we're quite good on that. To be, frank, about a year ago, we would get a lot of complaints about that. We rarely get complaints about that now. And again, sign up for a demo at seekout.io/expo. We're happy to give you a trial, because it's one thing for me to show a couple examples, but it's another for you to try it with your real recs and see, does the data and the analysis pan out for you.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate the quick tour, John. Thank
you. We're very happy to be here. Thanks for the opportunity.
Excellent. Well, have a great day. And again, thanks again.
Thanks.
All right. We'll close out, John.